Where'd this ice come from? I'm glad you asked, because I set up a camera in my kitchen specifically to tell you the answer.
Quick look from the backseat, city going by as we're passing the street.
So early winter got really cold around here. I think we had like a -20 snap. Late November, early December was super cold. But then things warmed up dramatically. Mid-December, we had a week where things got well above zero. And a couple of my buddies, Pete and Cody, and myself decided we were going to go fishing. So it's a couple-hour drive to where we were going, and we weren't sure what it was going to look like when we got there. Was the river still going to be frozen, or had the warmer weather caused the tributaries to start blowing the whole river out? But when we showed up, it was ideal. Like, river super low, locked up, clear water, just like calm, serene, like perfect. Pete and Cody didn't catch anything, but I had a really good day. Caught a beautiful fish. So I put on a bit of a clinic for those guys. I look up the river and I see like a pretty good sized ice chunk come floating around the bend. You know, I kind of mentioned it to Cody. I'm like, hey, there's a couple pieces of ice coming down here and a log. You know, whatever. And then, you know, within the next 10 seconds, you can see, you know, there's like quite a few chunks of ice coming behind there. Before we knew it, there was just like a lot of ice coming around the corner, like a wall of ice coming around the corner. And we didn't really have anywhere to go. There wasn't time. Like before you knew it, ice was just like smashing into our legs, smashing into the boat. And I'm like talking pretty thick chunks of ice. So Cody pushed off. We like tucked the boat around this like little, there was a small little point that we could kind of get in behind and be protected. You know, Pete obviously reeled up. We all got together, and within that, like, you know, under a minute time of just getting the boat secured and getting us all together, the river was just full of ice. And it just kept coming and got thicker and thicker. What had happened is one of the tributaries coming into the river we were fishing must have, over the previous, you know, 2-3 weeks of cold weather, completely frozen up. During the course of this warmer weather and the warm day we were having, the whole thing let go. So we had, I don't know how many, you know, probably hundreds of kilometers of shelf ice that was stacked up and jammed, just let go and came flying down the river at us. That's about how thick most of them were. You know, some of them were thicker and just huge plates, like some of them the size of this kitchen, just like cruising down the river. Like, it was pretty serious stuff. So it's 12:30, just like around lunchtime, when this all starts happening, when the ice first kind of starts blowing by us. Like half an hour later, it had only gotten worse. Like the ice was thicker and thicker. And then like, you know, an hour later, the ice was even thicker. Like it just kept getting worse and just kept coming. So, you know, by the time it was like 2 o'clock and then 2:30, you know, where we've only got like another hour and a half of light and the river was still plugged up with ice, we're starting to look at each other and be like, okay, like, you know, what do we do? We did have a spot with us that we could have texted back to let everyone know, like, hey, we're okay. But we left the spot in the truck back at our camp like a bunch of idiots. But we're totally fine. You know, we're watching something really beautiful and cool that none of us had seen before. We're wearing our basically survival suits. We started a fire. We had lots of safety gear. We had some food. We had a bunch of Coors Light and some rolling tobacco. Like, we could have lived there, really. By the time it was 3:30, we had about half an hour. It was already getting dusky. We had another half an hour. Like, it was basically like, are we spending the night here, or are we going to try and go? The boat ride back up was kind of crazy. We'd, you know, try and dodge ice, but there's just too much ice to dodge.
He's just got to kill it every time he gets ice in it.
Every 20 seconds, 10 seconds, a piece of ice would smash the hull, slip underneath, hit the motor.
I don't think we're ready to go yet. I don't think we're going to get better.
Cody must have had to turn the motor off and on like 100 times as we're working our way up. Like it just went on and on. It was like not relaxing at all. You know, it's getting dark. It was probably around 4 when we got to the tributary that all the ice had come out of. The whole gully where the tributary was had been just scraped with ice, like 6-8 feet on either side. It just been straightened right out. And once we got past that tributary, it was clear sailing. The moral of the story? I don't know. Maybe it's that middle of December isn't the best time to go fishing, go skiing, snowshoeing, watch a movie, bird watching, anything really, except for going in a boat on a river. Check that out. This is one of the pieces of ice. And that concludes story time. Hope you enjoyed the story. Maybe next time something happens that's worth telling a story about, I'll tell it to you. Until then, maybe it's you.
Welcome to the wild, I'm crazy. You know I want you.